Oh my goodness. This is going to be exciting. This is going to be fun. Fun and exciting. I'm pretty sure. Well, it'll be fun and exciting for me. And thank you for being here. I think you're going to like it. Well, let's get the show started.
Mr. Webber's Web O Mystery. Ah. Mr. Webber's Web O Mystery. Oh, oh, oh. Mr. Webber's Web O Mystery. Ah. Mr. Webber's Web O Mystery. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
What a week it's been. What is it? Why do I do that every time? Oh, hang on. A lot of controls for one man here. Even a guy with extra. So yeah, thanks for joining me. Today is going to be, I think, the day I've always been waiting for while making this show. Easily the day I've always been waiting for. Why? Because there are certain radio shows that are just absolute cornerstones to the entire field of old-time radio. And this is a cornerstone, if you will. Hang on. Oh yeah. I don't love that. Okay. Sorry. I know I should probably work these things out while we're not doing the show. Here, I'm going to go back to that. I like that. Okay. So, what are we talking about? We are talking about, hang on, let me get this up on the, oh yeah, radios. We're talking about getting the show started and having a I'm sorry, I'm sort of being distracted by Stevie while I'm doing this. Stevie is very distracting. You have seen Stevie as a guest on our regular show, Retro Rangers, which normally we do in this time period. And Stevie is incredibly distracting in all the best ways. Stevie, you know how I adore you. And it's a show called The Shadow. Now, maybe you've heard of it because maybe you're a superhero nerd like I am. Maybe you're a Batman nerd like I am. Maybe you're a nostalgia nerd, a vigilante nerd, just a pulp fiction kind of, nerd like me. And if you're not, hopefully this show will make you one. Stevie asks, what's a Batman? It's something you hit the ball with, man. Dad jokes. The way The Shadow was created is one of the most extraordinary stories in the history of creating superheroes. The Shadow would go on to be a heavy influence for Batman and most of the sort of dark Avengers of the Night, that kind of superhero. And it's it's a real treat to be able to tell you about it because I love these heroes. I love these old heroes. I'm moving my head a lot, aren't I? Because Spider Hat is just really distracting me. All right, Spider Hat. There we go. A little bit better. Okay. By heavy, he means total basis for the character aside from the silly costume. Yes. The silly costume really does make the show, honestly. I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. This is ridiculous. Okay, so what we're going to do is first I'm going to take you to the first part of the shadow story. It's not directly related to the shadow. That might be a little off-putting, but I'm telling you, you're going to get two great stories out of it. So shouldn't be off-putting at all. We have a tradition in old-time radio of the horror host. Now, maybe you can name horror hosts. Maybe you like Svengoolie or Elvira. There was Vampira back in the day. There were so many horror hosts. Well, radio created the horror host. Radio liked to have anthology stories, and the only thing that would tie one story to another, even though they might be incredibly different, would be the horror host. Hey, I just remembered one you younger folks, younger than me, everybody's younger than me, you younger folks might know. And yes, Adina, you got it before I did. Crypt Keeper. Crypt Keeper from Tales of the Crypt. There are so many great horror hosts. They were created for radio. So let's start with our first show. And it is hosted by a horror host. And I just absolutely love Dr. Weird. So we're going to start with Dr. Weird and see where that takes us. So here we go. You're going to hear a very short little show here. It's called The Summoning of Chandor.
Adam Patch presents The Strange Dr. Weird.
Good evening. Come in, won't you? Why, what's the matter? Surely you're not nervous. Perhaps a story might calm your nerves a little. This story is about a strange spell and a stranger magic. I call it The Summoning of Chandor.
In a moment, you and I will take a deep breath and step into the strange world of Dr. Weird. And while you brace yourself, I'd like to do right by my sponsor and say something nice about Adam Patch. That's not very hard to do, especially right now with the breathtaking fall and winter line of up-to-the-minute Adam Patch now on display in the thousands of Adam stores and authorized dealers from coast to coast. Why not stroll by your nearest Adam shop and take a quick look at some of that quality headgear? Believe me, when you buy an Adams, you're buying real quality and correct style, as well as perfect fit. And Adams is one of America's greatest hat values. Now, here's Dr. Weird.
My story, The Summoning of Chandor, begins in a curious circular room at the top of a deserted lighthouse near San Francisco. There are three men in the room. One is bound tightly to a chair, his face wet with the perspiration of agony. The second is small and ferret-like. The third man is squat, with a soft, healthy body and blubbery countenance that makes him look like a frog as he speaks.
Well, Thompson, are you ready to tell us where your wife is yet?
You'll never find her, Teddy. She's out of your reach.
And he put another splinter under his fingernail, Clark.
Oh.
That ought to make him tell us where he's got her head. Now, Spot, I've got a better idea. Yeah. Have you ever heard of Shandor?
That old Hindu who lives down in Chinatown? Yeah, I heard plenty about him. I don't want nothing to do with that guy.
They tell me one little trick of his called the summoning is supposed to make anybody you want come to you, even from the furthest ends of the earth.
You mean he can bring him here even if we don't...
Yes, Spot. Suppose you go get this Shandor. You'll have him work his spell. And no matter where Thompson has his wife hidden, she'll come to us, whether she wants to or not.
And so, half an hour later, the door of a tiny, strangely furnished room, deep in the heart of Chinatown, slowly opened.
Yes. What is it, please?
Santos? I am called by that name. My boss has got a job for you. He wants you to work him a spell. The one called the Summoning.
Summoning?
Yeah.
That is a powerful and dangerous charm not to be lightly attempted.
And yet it has been ordained for 1,000 years that I shall go with you and do as you wish. A few minutes later, Shandor, followed by Spot, was climbing the endless steps that led to the top of the deserted lighthouse, where Frog Stanton and his prisoner were waiting.
Madden, this is madness. This obsession of yours about Ellen, my wife. Yes, obsession. For 5 long years, I've waited for this moment. The moment when Ellen will come to me and tell me she's willing to be mine. And unless she does that, she'll die tonight. Painfully. Slow. That's madness, Madden. Just because you asked her to marry you once and she turned you down. She'd have been mine if you hadn't come along. No, she wouldn't. She was just sorry for you because you... Because I love the way I do. Like a frog. Yes. I know. She said it made her skin crawl just to have me touch her hand. You think I could forgive that? I went to prison because I was caught stealing money to have my face changed so she'd like me. I told her that. She told you and you told the police. You expect me to forgive that? Fenton, listen to me. Forget this crazy idea of revenge. Turn me loose. I've told you the price of your life. It's for your wife, Ellen, to come to me gladly. Kiss me. Me, whose very touch made her skin crawl. If she won't do that, you'll die. Now, for the last time, where is she? She's where you can never find her. Never. You fool! Yeah. Thompson. You're unconscious. So, you think you can keep her hidden from me, do you? What? It's you? Yeah. Go on in, Shandor.
I obey.
You know what you're here to do?
This hand has told me.
Good. We have a friend, a young woman. She's lost, and we can't find her. We want to bring her here. You'll be well paid.
I do not use my knowledge for pay. Have you a picture of the one who is to be summoned?
Yes.
Yes, she is young and fair.
Now, get busy and get her here. And if your spells don't work, I'll throw you out that window down to the rocks below. Understand?
Shandor has no fear of you. First, the incense must be lighted.
Let's don't stop. Shut up, Spot. Go down below and wait there.
Okay.
You speak first.
First, you must call the one who is wanted and ask her to come.
All right.
Ellen, come to me. Ellen, come. Ellen, come. Ellen, come.
We'll learn what happens in just a moment. First, I wonder if we could have a word with you, Dr. Weird.
Yes, young man. What is it?
Well, your program really scares me tonight, Doctor. I want you to give me something for my frenzied nerves. Just say, what's that thing you're carrying around? Is it?
Just a human skull.
A skull, huh? Look, Doc, never mind about my nerves. Just go away for a minute, and we'll all think about something nice. Gentlemen, I hope the next time you stroll by your nearest Adam Hat store, you'll find time to step inside for a brief look around. Believe me, that fall and winter line of hats just arrived really represents a fine assortment of quality. Prices, you'll notice, run from only $3.45 up to $10. Try your size in a famous Adam Prize, one of America's greatest hat values, which features the most correct, up-to-the-minute styles in genuine fur cuffs. Men choose Adam because an Adam just naturally does something for a fellow. The ladies certainly agree with that. That's why so many ladies are giving their men Adam Hat gift certificates for Christmas. That way, he makes his own selection of size, color, shape at any time he pleases, just by presenting the gift certificate at any one of the thousands of Adam Hat shops and authorized dealers from coast to coast. This Christmas, madam, give him an Adam. Now, Dr. Weird.
Now for the rest of my story, the summoning of Shandor. In the tiny room at the top of the deserted lighthouse, the magician Shandor sounds the gong. He summons the missing from wherever they may be.
Ellen, come. Ellen, come. Ellen, come.
She comes. She is almost here. That gong. What is it? Oh, you come too. It's Shandor, Thompson. We've been summoning your wife. Ellen is coming. She's almost here. No, that's not possible. It mustn't be. But it is. She's almost here now. No.
Be not distressed, my friend. He comes gladly.
But this...
It is best that you neither see nor hear what is to happen. Look into my eyes.
I...
There. Now there is a veil over your senses.
What's that?
Yes, here, she whom you have summoned has come to you dressed in white and veiled as a bride.
Ellen, you come.
You called me, and I came.
Yes. I've been waiting 5 years for this moment, Ellen.
I come. I was glad to come.
Let me lift this veil you're wearing so I can see you. Your face, your eyes, your hair.
I will lift it. There.
No. No.
Now, take her in your arms.
No, finish it.
You summoned me. You cannot turn from me now.
No. Stay away from me. I'll shoot you. I'll kill you.
You summoned me. I shall remain with you as long as you live.
You're still coming toward me. I saw the voice hit you. Why aren't you dead?
You summoned me. We shall be together always now. Always.
No. No, stay back, please.
You summoned me, and I came. Now I must go back. Go back.
Yes, you must return once more from whence you came.
It was a great distance, but I was glad to come. Tell my husband not to grieve. I was glad to come. Glad, but now I must go back.
Now, my friend, you may awaken.
Shambo. What happened? Oh, Spencer.
This fraud like one whose soul was evil, gone. When your wife came to him, and he saw her face, mad overtook him. He leaped to his death on the rocks below.
Her face. It was horribly mutilated in the accident in which she was killed. She was buried in her wedding dress and veil.
She said she was glad to come.
But she couldn't have come. She's dead. She's been buried for years.
Well, do you feel calmer now? Quite a powerful spell, wasn't it? So powerful that it could even call the dead from the grave. Oh, you don't believe a word of it? I'm glad. You'll sleep better tonight. Or perhaps. Drop in on me again soon. I'm always home. Let's look for the house on the other side of the cemetery. The house of Dr. Weir.
That man will be back in a moment with a word about next Tuesday night's program. Meanwhile, between now and then, why not buy an Adam Hat Christmas gift certificate for the man in your life? These certificates come inside a miniature hat box with a miniature hat and can be redeemed at any time at any of the thousands of Adam Hat shops and authorized dealers throughout the nation. Get an Adam gift certificate so that he may choose exactly the size, color, and shape he wants at any Adam Hat store or authorized dealer. Prices, $3.45 to $10. For Christmas, madam, give him an Adam. Now, Dr. Weir.
I hope you'll drop in on me again next week. I want to tell you a story I call Death in the Everglades. A story about a young couple who couldn't wait for their uncle to die and leave them his money. They went into the Everglades to get it. But their uncle's friend persuaded them to stay. Because but the rest of the story will have to wait until your next visit. Good night.
Join us next week at the same time for another visit with The Strange Dr. Weird. The Strange Dr. Weird, directed by Josh McGregor, is presented by the makers of Adam Hats, the hats that are always top in quality. This is Mutual.
So there you go. The Strange Dr. Weird, not the Weird Dr. Strange. And it was from Mutual. Mutual was not a big network. It was a bunch of sort of independent stations that banded together as a network. The Don Lee Network was another name for Mutual. And what you got from Mutual was some tremendous member stations that would create shows like our next show, The Shadow. Now, The Shadow has an origin that a lot of people don't know. I didn't know this origin for a very long time. And it went like this. It's pure old time radio, this whole story. In 1929, yes, the time of the Great Depression, the stock market crash, when the Great Depression begins, there was a advertising agent. He was a creative at his agency. His name was David Chrisman. David Chrisman had a brand new client, and they had a problem. You can tell I've been watching a lot of TikToks. They had a problem over at Street and Smith Publications because they had been around for a long time, and their magazine Detective Weekly was very popular, but it was being beaten in numbers. It was not selling as well as a rival magazine called True Detective. You've heard that phrase before. So this phrase, True Detective, comes from the title of a weekly magazine filled with fictional and true crime stories, very popular at the time, just like they are now. And they were getting killed, frankly, Street and Smith. They were used to being on top, but McFadden Publishing had True Detective, and they were doing a brand new thing in 1929, something other magazines were not doing. They got a radio show. And this radio show was doing quite well. It was getting a lot of people to buy the magazine. So there you go, like one of your first infomercials. The show would take stories from the magazine, and someone would either read them or they would have some actors act them out. That became more and more how radio was going. And now Street and Smith was like, we're falling behind. So please help us out. How can we do this? So David Chrisman says, we're going to make a show for your weekly magazine. It was called Detective Weekly. We're going to do a show for that. It'll be called the Detective Weekly Story Hour. And people were going to like it, but Chrisman had an idea. He wanted to do something different from the other anthologies. He wanted to have a fictional narrator for the whole series, which means he would have to make up a horror host, somebody like the Crypt Keeper, like Elvira, like Svengoolie. And his idea was rock solid. He said, why don't we come up with a character who watches from the shadows and he knows all? He has his own omniscience when it comes to these stories of murder and crime. And he'll be creepy. He'll be very strange. People could not believe what they were hearing, because at this point in radio, 1929, almost everybody on the microphone was eloquent. They really knew how to speak well and how to read. They were cultured. All of these voices that came into your home with you being a radio listener, you were hearing people at their best, at their highest mark of education and culture. And that's nice. That's very nice that that was being done. So when a spooky voice came along, all right, let me play this for you. Once they started doing Detective Weekly on the air, people's minds were blown when they heard this.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows.
And that's Frank Reddick. Frank Reddick wasn't the very first shadow. That was an actor named James Lacurdo. James Lacurdo did the job for about 3 months, and he was great too. Just like Frank Reddick, he was really great. But this was all in New York City, and Broadway is just a couple blocks away from the studio. So these guys still wanted to do Broadway shows. Jimmy Lacurdo goes and he gets some roles and he's gone. He's got a career now. Frank Reddick takes over and he is fantastic. Not only is Frank Reddick really great at picking up where Jimmy Lacurdo left off, Frank Reddick becomes the voice of the Shadow. The show did okay. They did just over 50 episodes of the show. And it was all right. People were buying the magazine, but here's something that happened more. People weren't going to the newsstand and asking for Detective Weekly. They were going and they were asking for that magazine about the Shadow. They'd done their job too well. They had created a character that people really, really wanted to read about and follow. Street and Smith. They've been around since the mid 1800s at this point. They've been publishing forever. Street and Smith went, oh, you want the Shadow? Fine. They have a bunch of writers that basically will write anything for them. They find a guy, Walter Gibson. He's a great writer. He's an amateur magician. He's really good at the mind games of entertaining people. And Walter Gibson goes, fine. He starts writing incredible pulp stories about the Shadow. And the magazine's doing really, really well. So now Shadow Magazine passes by the magazine that it was supposed to support. The Shadow is made to support Detective Weekly. And now the Shadow Magazine is hugely popular. It's going for years at this point. There were attempts to bring back the Shadow. A lot of radio commercials ended up going on Street and Smith's shows. And Street and Smith had lots of different kinds of shows. They even tried to launch some Shadow series. There are no copies of those shows available. I wish I could find them. They're not available. However, it just wasn't catching on. Jump forward to 1937. It's announced that one of the most popular actors on Broadway is going to take over the role of the Shadow, and he's going to launch a new series. And that man's name is Orson Welles. Orson Welles is highly regarded. He had Mercury Theater, and he had done an episode that he wrote, that he directed, and that he starred in of Les Miserables. So very cultured people really respected Orson Welles. People who were taking a look at, oh, Broadway's so exciting. They knew the name Orson Welles. This is like finding out a great actor is going to play this iconic character. I imagine when I found out that Christian Bale was going to play Batman, I thought he was a great Batman, by the way. I know some people don't feel that way. I didn't feel this way about Robert Pattinson or Michael Keaton, or Val Kilmer or whoever. But Orson Welles playing this role made it very big and very important, and people tuned in like crazy. WOR was the station where the show was being made, and they were really great. They had a lot of actors, and they would use big casts, and they would do a lot with music. WOR is a legendary station in New York, and one of the reasons is because the Shadow was so great. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to one of the Orson Welles episodes of the Shadow. Now, if you've been watching any of the podcasts that I do, you'll know I love Agnes Moorehead. She plays Margot Lane, the confidant and partner of the Shadow. And what else can I tell you? Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get started on it. This episode I adore. This is one of my favorite episodes, one of the first episodes of The Shadow that I ever heard, and I'm so thrilled to share it with you. This is called Death from the Deep. It's from 1938. This is The Shadow.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
Ladies and gentlemen, The Shadow's exciting adventure will start in just a moment. But first, I have an announcement that should be set screaming across every front page in America. Because it's all about the safest thing on wheels. The new Goodrich Safety Silvertown tire with the Lifesaver tread. Imagine, not only does this sensational Silvertown give you the greatest skid protection you have ever known, and golden ply blowout protection that has already saved thousands of motorists' lives, it gives you both of these life-saving features at no extra cost. The new Goodrich Lifesaver tread has a truly amazing action on wet, slippery roads. It does to the rain-drenched roads what your windshield wiper does to the windshield. Its spiral bars that never end act like a whole battery of windshield wipers. They sweep the water right and left, force it out through deep drainage grooves, make a dry track for the rubber to grip. Don't let a skid endanger your life. Don't let a blowout throw your car out of control. Start riding on the new Goodrich, spelled Goodrich, Goodrich Safety Silvertown. The sooner, the safer. The Shadow, Lamont Cranston, a man of wealth, a student of science, and a master of other people's minds, devotes his life to righting wrongs, protecting the innocent, and punishing the guilty. Using advanced methods that may ultimately become available to all law enforcement agencies, Cranston is known to the underworld as the Shadow. Never seen, only heard, as haunting to superstitious minds as a ghost, as inevitable as a guilty conscience. The Shadow's true identity is known only to his constant friend and aide, Margot Lane. Today's story, Death from the Deep.
Look at the water, Captain. Calm as a mill pond. I tell you, I don't like it.
Now, Mr. McLennan, that's not good talk for a first mate. You sound like a superstitious deck swabber. If the elements feel kindly toward us, let them be.
I know, Captain. But 5 days with the sea as smooth as a skating rink. 'Tis a bad omen.
Well, Mr. McLennan, perhaps we'll have a good squall tomorrow to restore your peace of mind. For myself, I'll take anything. What's that?
Sounded like the engine room.
That was more than a boiler, McLennan. Hello. Hello down there. Why don't you answer? Hello.
Captain, we've been...
Hello down there. We've been what?
Captain Jones, look there. Look at that white path on the water coming toward us. It's a torpedo.
We're not at war.
Hold fast, Captain. It's going to hit amidship.
All hands accounted for?
Yes, Captain.
Are all lifeboats clear?
All but this one, sir.
And lower away. Pull lively, men.
We're just getting away in time, sir.
Hey, what's that nosing out of the water dead ahead, sir?
It's a submarine.
A submarine? So that's what did it. The blackguards?
A man's coming out of the submarine hatch, sir.
He's got a machine gun. He's pointing at us. Stop! Stop, for the love of heaven!
Another magic around at high speed! Keep this bird down, sir!
Acme Steamship Agency.
I wish to cancel my reservation on the Princess Marie.
But, madam, didn't you...
I'm not sailing, I tell you. Why, it'd be suicide.
But, Mr. Williams, you can ship your goods with us. Our boats are safe.
No boat is safe.
But you'd be insured.
Yes, at 4 times the usual rate. Oh, no. You can cancel my shipment.
Gentlemen of the Maritime Commission, we are confronted with a vital problem. In the past 3 months, there have been exactly 18 ships mysteriously sunk on the high seas. Ships belonging to the United States, Great Britain, Germany, Italy, Japan, in fact, every major power. This series of unexplainable marine disasters has created a panic throughout the nautical world. Passenger reservations are being canceled. Freight shipments are being withdrawn. Crews are deserting their ships. Gentlemen, something has got to be done.
Waiter, some more coffee, Margot?
Yes, please, Lamont.
2 more coffees, waiter. That's it.
Now, what were you saying, Lamont?
Just this. 3 months ago, Margot, the first ship disappeared. A few days later, a second ship was sunk. This time, the bullet-ridden bodies of the crew were found dead, afloat in their lifeboats.
Horrible.
It is. And each succeeding disaster has been increasingly horrible.
And now all shipping is at a standstill.
These atrocities could not have been brought about by international jealousies because each of the ships sunk has been owned by a company in a different country.
But who can be responsible?
I'm not sure. But my deduction is it's the work of a pirate.
A pirate? But Lamont, a pirate in the 20th century?
Yes, Margot. And one more callous, more bloodthirsty than any buccaneer who ever sailed the Spanish Main.
Then why isn't he tracked down?
Because not a single person has ever survived these sinkings. Therefore, the pirate has never been seen.
He must be seen sometime.
Not if he has a submarine.
Submarine?
Yes, Margot.
But how could an individual be in possession of a submarine without it being known?
If a man were rich and clever enough, he could have a submarine built in complete secrecy.
There must be some way of finding him out.
There is. Before such a craft could be constructed, it has to be designed. There are very few expert designers of submarines in the world. In the brain of one of them, this pirate craft must have been conceived.
But Lamont, a pirate submarine sounds fantastic.
Even more fantastic, Margot, is the motive of the pirate. He's preyed on every kind of ship from the superliner to the common tramp. He can't be after booty because examination of the sunken hulls has revealed that nothing has been touched.
Why, Lamont, why?
To find an answer to that question is a task for the Shadow.
But how would you proceed?
I've already made a few secret inquiries at the Navy Department in Washington. They told me of one chap who might be worth investigating, a Mr. Joseph Hart, a brilliant designer of naval crafts who was dishonorably discharged from his position.
Where can he be found?
I have learned that he is living all alone in a small house out on Oak Road. The Shadow is going to pay a call on Mr. Joseph Hart tonight.
Will you pass me that bottle, please, Benton?
Certainly. There you are. Joseph, I'm sorry to see you indulging in liquor. It frequently loosens the tongue. Sometimes makes a man say things that he later regrets.
What do you mean?
Just this. We share a secret, Joseph. A secret which would be most unwise for either of us to divulge.
I haven't said anything. I haven't talked.
Not yet. My fear is for what you might say. Your nerve is deserting you, Joseph. You must pull yourself together.
How can I pull myself together when night after night I'm tortured by the vision of a procession of helpless ships sinking down to the murky depths, haunted by the faces of floating corpses, tormented by...
Shut up!
I was a fool. I designed and built that submarine.
A service for which you were well paid.
Yes, with money soaked in blood. I'm responsible for the havoc and the terror that your insane
Don't
blood...
say that, you idiot. I'm no madman, do you hear?
Why did you come here tonight, Benton?
Because, Joseph, I've been wondering of late why I permit you to live. You're becoming increasingly dangerous to my interests.
No.
Unless you can prove to me that our secret is safe and that you will aid me in the future.
No, I'll never do that.
No? And in that case, I feel that you ought to be my guest on the next cruise of the submarine.
I'd never come back. Is that what you mean?
Quite true. But before you leave us in mid-ocean, you'll have an opportunity to see the splendid efficiency with which your creation, the submarine, operates.
No. I'd rather you kill me right now and have it over with.
And deprive you of witnessing the thrilling spectacle of my accurate marksmanship? To see them leap from the boats in terror like rats? No, Joseph, you can't miss seeing that.
No. I'd do anything rather than be forced to see that.
I thought you would. Maintain that attitude, Joseph, or it may be necessary for me to request that you pack your yachting clothes. A contingency which we should both deeply regret. Good night, Joseph.
What am I going to do? What am I going to do?
I'll tell you what you can do, Joseph Hart.
Who's that?
There's a way to save you from the evil domination of Barry Vinton.
Who are you?
I am the voice of one who has come to help you. I am the instrument of your righteous vengeance. I am the Shadow.
The Shadow?
With my assistance, you can compensate for some of the wrong that you have done.
But how?
Tell me the secret that you share with Vinton.
Oh, no. I can't. I'm afraid.
More to fear if you remain silent. The Shadow already knows enough to hang you, Joseph Hart.
You haven't got anything on me.
I heard every word that passed between you and Vinton in this room.
Oh.
Tell me what I want to know and save yourself. Or perhaps, as Vinton so aptly put it, you'd prefer to pack your yachting clothes.
Nothing can save me. What I've done is done. I can never escape my conscience.
Then your conscience must tell you that it's your duty to do all that you can do to stop Vinton's outrages.
Yes, you're right.
Now tell me the secret.
Very well. Until a year ago, I knew Vinton only by his reputation as a millionaire sportsman. He was famous as a deep-sea fisherman and a big game hunter. He came to me first seeking a design for a racing boat. I built it for him, and we became friends.
And because of that friendship, you consented to build a submarine.
Yes, but not for the purpose that he later used it. He told me that he wanted for a new thrill. Oh, believe me.
Go on.
Well, the submarine was built in Vinton's private shipyard, out at Carey's Point. Knowledge of its construction was carefully guarded from the world. It was not until the day the boat was launched that he told me his true intentions.
What were those intentions?
Vinton is a lunatic, coldly, murderously mad. He'd always been a killer, but he tired of shooting lions and gaff and marlin. Now his warped brain had turned to what he regarded as a new sport.
The sinking of ships and the ruthless slaying of defenseless men. Now I understand. Why does he keep the submarine?
I don't know.
Are you telling the truth, Joseph Hart?
I've told you everything. Why should I lie now? If I knew where that boat was, I'd blow it to pieces. Myself with it. Myself with it. Wait. Myself. That's the idea. That's how I could fool Barry Vinton. Why should I wait to die at his hands? No.
What are you doing?
I'll fool Barry Vinton.
Here, put down that gun.
No more tortured, sleepless nights. I see no more screaming headlines. Another boat sunk, and another, and another.
Don't, Joseph Hart, don't.
Barry Vinton will never take me on that voyage. I'll fool him, I say, fool him.
Joseph Hart. You've served us both. Now we shall see whom you have served best. Barry Vinton or the Shadow.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a moment the Shadow will be back on the air with surprises, suspense, and a thrilling, unexpected climax. But meanwhile, here's something mighty important to bear in mind when you drive a car. Just remember that rainy days make the grass grow greener. They may bring out the best in flowers, but they bring out the worst in roads.
Yes, beware. A road that's plenty safe when dry may become a dangerous skid trap when wet, sending your car skidding, spinning, swerving off the road.
Motorists, why take this chance when you can now get a sensational new kind of tire that will stop you quicker, safer than you've ever stopped before? The new Goodrich Safety Silvertown with the Lifesaver Tread. Impartial tests conducted by the country's largest independent testing laboratory against the regular and premium price tires of America's 6 largest manufacturers proved that no tire tested, regardless of price, came up to the new Silvertown in non-skid action. Furthermore, these unbiased tests showed that the new Goodrich Silvertown with Lifesaver Tread gave more non-skid mileage than any of the other tires tested in its own price range. Imagine, the new Goodrich Silvertown averaged 19.1% more miles before the tires wore smooth, which is the same as saying you'll get every 6th mile free. Yes, many tires cost more than the new Goodrich Silver Towns, but no tire at any price can give you the unequaled skid protection of the Lifesaver tread, the exclusive blowout protection of the Golden Ply. Keep danger a stranger. Put a set of these life-saving long-mileage tires on your car without delay.
And so, Margot, Hart finished telling me the story, and before I could stop him, he shot himself in the head.
Poor man.
Perhaps it was better that way.
Lamont, now how will you find the submarine?
Joseph Hart told me that it was built at Vinton's shipyard out at Carey's Point. That's the logical place to start my search.
Is that where you're going now?
Yes.
Do be careful, Lamont. Remember, that man's a lunatic. He'll stop at nothing.
The Shadow hasn't anything to fear from Vinton.
I hope you're right.
Well, this is as far as we can safely drive without being seen.
This is a desolate spot. Don't like it. There's a light.
Yes, the shipyard.
Appears to be surrounded by a high wall. It looks like a prison.
Perhaps it is a prison. For those within its gates. Margot, before we go any further, I'll give you your instructions.
Yes, Lamont.
I've already been in touch with the United States Coast Guard. I've been promised to give me full cooperation.
Yes.
Once I've found the submarine and know Vinton's plans, I shall communicate with you by our private wireless.
And then?
Then you will relay my message directly to the Coast Guard headquarters in Washington.
I understand. Good luck to the Shadow.
The Shadow thanks you.
All right, let it down easy now.
Okay, Phil.
Well, that's the last of the torpedoes, Charlie.
Hey, the sub must be going on a long cruise this time. Taking plenty of supplies and ammunition.
Yeah. Hey, what's that?
It was the wind blowing the door shut. What's the matter with you?
Listen, Charlie, when are we going to get out of this joint? You know, we've been cooped up inside this shipyard for 3 months. It's giving me the creeps.
Oh, now take it easy.
I'd rather be back in prison. There wasn't nothing scary about prison, and you knew when your time was up, you got out.
Well, maybe we ain't never going to get out of here.
Huh? What do you mean?
I mean, this Vinton guy's a bug. He ain't even let us read no newspaper since we come here. The stuff about hunting whales with torpedoes, that sounds screwy to you.
Listen, if he don't let us out of here soon,
Here he comes now.
Are all the torpedoes aboard?
Yes, sir. We just sent down the last load.
Very well. Take care of these empty crates. Then you may turn in.
Yes, sir. Mr. Vinton?
Yes?
We was wondering if we... Yeah, me and Charlie here was just talking about the... how we've been in the shipyard here a long time now,
and what Phil is trying to say, Mr. Vinton, is... Well, could we have a couple of days off on the outside?
I'm afraid that would be impossible.
Oh, but Mr. Vinton, it's been 3 months. I've got a wife and kids.
You're being well paid, aren't you?
Oh, sure. You're giving us plenty of dough, all right, but we ain't getting no chance to spend it.
You will remain here as long as your services are required.
What if we don't want to stay here that long? What if we up and leave?
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise you to attempt that. Do you remember what happened to your associate, Mr. Hadley, when he tried to, as you say, up and leave? He fell from the wall.
You mean that wasn't no accident, huh?
No. He was shot down.
Oh.
So, do you still want to quit? I thought not. Good night, gentlemen.
Looks like we're in here for a long, long time.
Yeah, maybe you are. But I'm going to figure a way to get out of here, see?
Perhaps I can be of some assistance to you.
Who said that?
I heard it, too.
I said, perhaps I can help you if you wish to get out of here.
Who's that talking? Where are you?
Don't bother to look for me. You can't see me.
What is this? One of Vinton's gags or something?
No, I am not speaking for Vinton. I speak for myself.
Who are you?
Men call me the Shadow.
The Shadow? Shadow. How'd you get in here?
The Shadow is everywhere.
Well, what do you want?
I wish to bargain with you.
Oh, what kind of a bargain?
By this time, you must be aware that you are both at the mercy of a madman.
He's right, Charlie.
You will never leave this place alive unless Barry Vinton is brought to justice.
What can we do about
I
it?
will promise you your freedom if you will just answer my question.
Wait a minute. What do you think, Charlie?
Well, we're taking a chance. This may be a trick.
It is no trick. You have the Shadow's word.
Well, what do you want to know?
Where is Vinton's submarine?
It's right below our feet in a secret underground berth.
When does it sail again?
Tonight, at midnight.
What is its destination?
Well, I heard Vinton say something to the mate about Cape Francis.
Good. Sailing at midnight, Cape Francis. The Shadow wishes him good hunting. Calling Margot Lane. Calling Margot Lane. Proceed as instructed. Communicate the following information to Coast Guard headquarters. Pirate submarine sails at midnight for waters off Cape Francis. Impress on Coast Guard the importance of following directions implicitly if wish to bait the madman who is terrorizing the Atlantic.
What is our position, Mr. Brush?
We are 100 miles due east of Cape Francis, sir.
Are we in the regular shipping lane?
Yes, Mr. Vinton.
Have we enough visibility for clear observation?
The sun has just risen, sir.
Good. I'll take over the periscope now.
Very well, sir.
A fine day for hunting, Mr. Brush. Hello, what's this?
Have you sighted something, sir?
Take a look. See what you make of it.
There is smoke. It looks like a steamer.
Splendid. Signal the engine room. Full speed ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is a steamer. I can see a funnel.
Full speed ahead.
Ah, this is the life. There's nothing like it. The sighting of fresh quarry on this periscope. The excitement of the chase, the spine-tingling thrill when the torpedo finds its mark. And then the climax, on deck, shooting them down with a machine gun like scurrying rats. Mr. Browse, stand by the torpedo tubes. We're coming up fast.
Yes, sir. Stand by the torpedo tube.
Aye, aye, sir.
We'll cut across our bow and swing to starboard. That should give us a perfect shot.
Very good, sir.
Be prepared to rise to the surface quickly. If we make a direct hit with the first torpedo.
Very good, sir. Stand by the valve and elevator.
Aye, aye, sir.
We're almost within range. Cut to half speed.
Half speed ahead.
Torpedo tubes number 1 and 2 are loaded, sir.
Torpedo tubes number 1 and 2 are loaded, sir.
Look, Browse. It's a fine, big liner.
Let me see, sir. Aye, that is the Orpheus.
The Orpheus.
I remember now reading of her sailing. She has a full passenger list. Several ambassadors are aboard.
Full passenger list, eh? That sounds most promising. Number 1 tube, ready to fire.
Number 1 tube, ready to fire.
Now, I'll bring her a little more to the starboard. A little more. There. Number 1, fire.
Number 1, fire.
Yes, it's heading straight for a side. No deflection. Should be a perfect hit. Closer. Closer. Going to hit. Now. Why, hail to explode. What a dud. Number 2 tube, ready to fire.
Number 2 tube, ready to fire.
Number 2, fire.
Number 2, fire.
We won't fail this time.
Yes, you will, Mr. Vinton. You've just fired another dud.
Who dared say that?
I did.
Who are you? Come out here where I can see you.
You will never see me. I am the Shadow.
Shadow, eh? I've heard of you.
The torpedo hit, but it failed to explode again.
Reload the torpedo tubes.
Yes.
That would be a waste of time, Vinton. I've seen to it that all of the torpedoes are done.
You'll regret this, Mr. Shadow. This is the one time that you've matched wits with a mind cleverer than your own. Blow out the ballast tanks for a quick rise to the surface.
Yes, sir.
I'll show you. I'll sink that boat with my deck guns.
Vinton, you're a madman.
Madman, am I? Very well, I'll show you the full extent of my madness.
Deck's awash, sir.
Open the conning tower hatch. Deck crew, stand by to man the guns. Aren't you coming up on deck, Shadow, to witness the kill?
I am already on deck, Vinton.
Devil plague you. How did you get up here? Show yourself.
That is unnecessary, but never fear. I'll stay near you.
The guns are jammed, sir.
Jammed? Why, that's impossible.
I neglected to tell you, Vinton, that I rendered your guns useless.
Oh, so you think that you've outwitted me, Shadow. But you're wrong. Signal the engine room full speed ahead.
Aye, aye, sir.
Steer directly for that vessel's side.
What are you doing now, Vinton?
The prow of this submarine is equipped with a ramming device. With it, we can sink any vessel afloat without injury to us. You didn't foresee that, did you, Shadow? In a few moments, we will rip open the hull of that liner and send it to the bottom as effectively as with any torpedo. So you don't believe me?
Oh, yes, I believe you. But that liner is completely deserted. It was set adrift there by the Coast Guard. It is a veritable floating mine with enough explosives aboard to blow you to kingdom come.
You're lying.
You'll know soon enough. You haven't far to go.
Reverse engines!
Reverse engines? Will we stop in time? We're getting closer.
No, we're stopping. We're stopping. We're not going to hit. You see, Shadow, I've outwitted you after all.
No, Vinton. You've maneuvered your submarine alongside the ship just as I planned. All right, up there. Here's your men.
Put up your hands! Put up your hands, all of you!
Coast Guard. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Yes, a trap, Barry Vinton. And this ends your reign of piracy and ruthless murder.
Very smart, aren't you, Shadow? But not as smart as you think you are.
Tell him! He's going inside the submarine! He's closing the hatch!
Yes, they all think they're so clever. But no one can outsmart Barry Vinton. I'll go to the engine room. I'll maneuver the dive. They'll never get me. I'm master below here. Now check the valve. That's right. I'd love to hear what the Shadow is saying up there now.
He's probably saying it's no use trying to maneuver that dive, Barry Vinton.
You, how did you get here, Shadow?
Why, I merely followed you.
Show yourself, Shadow, and I'll shoot you down in your tracks.
Here I am over here in this corner. Come ahead and shoot, Mr. Vinton.
Well, Shadow? Well?
You just missed me.
Why, you...
Come on, men, here he is.
Your marksmanship is deplorable, Mr. Vinton.
Who are you?
That does not matter.
Why don't you tell them who you are, you glory seeker?
I seek no glory. My reward is that ships and men can once more safely sail the seas. The Shadow's work is done.
You have been listening to a dramatized version of one of the many copyrighted stories which appear in the Shadow magazine.
The weed of crime bears bitter fruit. Crime does not pay. The Shadow knows.
All the characters and all the persons named are fictitious. Any similarity to persons living or dead is purely coincidental.
Crazy. Okay. Yeah. There you go. The Shadow. That's just one episode. There are many, many episodes and many actors who played the Shadow. And I got to tell you, as a fan, they're all good. I loved this show so much as a kid, and I've come back to it as an adult too. So yeah, I'd like to play more episodes of The Shadow. If you like it, let me know. Hit me up on social media. You can, of course, leave comments. If you're not subscribed to Weber Internet Thingy, it It would be so great if you did that. And I'm trying to keep this under an hour, so I am going to wrap it up right there. Did I like the Alec Baldwin version? I did. It wasn't great. Probably my least favorite. But what did you guys think of the Alec Baldwin as the Shadow? Not a great villain. That was really my big complaint about that movie. And hey, I went over an hour. Oh, I hate that. I hate that. All right, well, that was the good part of it. Thanks for joining me. I hope you will come back next week. I know I'm terrible at promoting this show, so I really appreciate you being here. And feel free to watch this. Go find episodes of The Shadow. They're all over the internet now. YouTube itself has a bunch of them. And be careful. Be careful. Condé Nast owns The Shadow, and they are so vicious about protecting it. Good night, Stevie. Good night, Adina. Good night to everybody watching. And I'll see you next week at 8 p.m. on the East Coast. And that's it. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great week.